Hi guys. Hi guys.
Hello, hello.
Hello. It's Nigel and me here again.
Yep.
Uh, all right. So I'm gonna get straight into this.
Oh, I have a question before you get into the sharing the screen.
Right.
Something just came over me. How many deaf people do you know?
I don't know any really at the moment, but I used to know a lot years ago.
Hmm. Question to the audience: how many deaf people do you know? Every time you see one of these government people on the stage doing their speech, there's always somebody there doing sign language. Now we're told this is for deaf people. I don't think it is. I think it's deeper than that.
Hmm. Don't know about that.
Just a thought.
Okay. So I just got to show
Oh
you
yeah.
this one. I just got
Oh this.
this is funny. All right. All right. You ready?
Yep. This is class.
I just gotta put it back a bit.
I can't do negative today. Positive vibes.
That's gold.
It
Pure
is
gold.
gold on
Yeah.
that one. All right.
Pure
I'm
gold.
gonna go into here and start this from the beginning.
Okay.
So here we are. Is a queen's death tied into a reset? This is just purely
Speculative.
fabricational. Yeah.
No, it's speculative, but I've got a few comments that I'm going to make as you present this, Kim.
All right. Okay. So, Queen Leline dead. So, not the king's. If a
Mm.
man is made a king, then his wife will be queen until he dies, at which time a new king will be announced. The queen then becomes the queen mother, and the new king is announced.
Yeah.
A king's wife becomes a queen, but a queen's husband becomes a prince, not a king.
That's always, even when I was a kid growing up in the UK, that always bugged me. You know, if a queen is put on the throne, or if a woman is put on the throne, she becomes queen. Her husband is a prince. But if a male child is put on the throne as a king, and he gets married, then his wife becomes queen.
Yeah.
It's
So it's,
really weird. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, even technically in chess, you've got the king's not really I mean, the king's the one you've got to protect, but um, the
Well, the
queen's,
queen on a chessboard, the queen is the most technically the most powerful chess piece because the queen can
yeah,
move anywhere. Can move
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
You know.
Whereas the king's pretty limited.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's a good point. That.
All right. So Queen Victoria died on the 22nd of January, 1901.
Right. Well, that is important. That connects to Jason Brashears on Archaics channel, who categorically states that the last reset was in 1902.
Mm.
Mm.
So if the queen's dying were tied into the reset, then the last reset would have occurred shortly after 1901.
Well, there you go. Jason's 1902.
And then there were four kings: Edward George, Edward George.
That isn't conspiratorial at all, is it? I mean, Edward George, Edward George. We're told that the first president of the USA was George Washington. Yet, if you do some research, there was, I don't know, 6 or 8 presidents before him. And there's a lot of speculation, and it's only speculation, Kim, that I think it was George the Second. So that would be the one before Elizabeth. Or it
Right.
might be the first one on your list after the first Edward. But he was known as the Mad King. You know, when you get a chance, if you just type in the Mad King, it will tell you this George the Second, I think it was. And there's a lot of speculation out there. There seems to be a lot of evidence that he actually became George Washington, because the official story is that they said he went mad and they put him in an asylum.
Yeah.
You wouldn't put a king in an asylum. No, absolutely no way would you put a king in an asylum. So there's a lot of speculation that he actually became George Washington. Anyway, digress.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the Michael Jackson Dangerous album, because I honestly think that these album covers and these superstars know stuff that we just don't know.
There is so much in this one album cover. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, we talked about it before on a previous podcast a long time ago now, but
yeah,
but it's mind-blowing.
So, and the king on the left is a dog. You've got a dog face.
Yeah, Harry and I over on the Devil's Playground too. We've done podcasts on this God and dog idea that what we know as our higher self or our inner self is our individual quote unquote God, and we are the dog, which is the reverse on the lead. I think from memory, the thumbnail has got a little Yorkshire Terrier with a dog on a lead, the lead representing our free will. And it's just interesting that they portrayed the god or the king as a dog. Yeah.
And then the queen as a bird, but the queen's got all this mechanism inside of her cape. There's the red versus the purple, or the red versus the blue.
Well, you put them together and you get purple, don't you?
And then you've got this cog working mechanism. So the queen's got cogs and wheels inside of a bubble with humans attached to it. So as if she's spitting out humans or something out of some sort of machine. So the question is the queen churning out humans? Now,
well, again, you've only got to look at the insects, don't you? I mean, we have a queen bee. Why? We have a queen ant. Why? There's no king ant or king bee. There's always the queen. There's more to this, Kim, than we understand. I think a lot more to it.
And then we've got this like rich banker guy at the bottom here, and then we've got a circus clown standing on his head with one of those wands, as if he's like orchestrating, as if like it's a depiction of him orchestrating this. Then you've got anyway, I'm gonna move on because it's not really about that, it's about something else. So the queen holds the crown jewels, the orb and the scepter.
Interesting, you got a bee there, a queen bee. Oh, look, next to the elephant.
Where's the bee? Oh yeah, there's the bee there. Great big bee. Yeah, great big bee. And her scepter's head is a guard. It's a dog. The head of the scepter's a dog. I don't know what that means. Anyway.
Wow.
So Martin Lietke from Flat Earth British did a very long video called TGSNT, The Greatest Secret Never Told. And I've linked it below, and it's 5.5 hours long, but it's certainly worth a watch if you get the time. But what he's talking about is partially what I'm leading into here, and then beyond that. So what he's saying, I've done an abridged version of what he's talking about, and honestly, there is so much detail in this 5.5 hour version of it that I haven't really done it justice, but I'm just trying to make sense of it. So firstly, you've got a fasces, which is technically a bundle of sticks tied together with an axe, with the axe sticking out the top, and then this encasement over the top of it. As you said,
that word fasces has got to be the root of the word fascist.
Yeah, look at this. House of Representatives, their emblem, with the fasces in the middle, and then the eagle with the arms stretched, with the wings stretched. Hitler stamp, that's got a fasces in it, and like you say, it's got to be the root of fascism. This is Mussolini with 2 of his soldiers leading into war, both with fasces over their shoulder. And then we've got the Abraham Lincoln statue, which, if you look at that closely, that's actually fasces either side of what he's got his hands on when he's sitting in the chair. He's got fasces either side of it. So they're all over if you look at pictures of these things, they're in everything. There's even one of them in the White House office above the door. It's part of the door frame. So what and this is again from Martin Leakey's video, but I felt that this was relevant. So what this is it is a description of a picture, of a historical picture. So it says the last raid of Zeppelins, the night of the 29th and the 30th of January 1916.
Kim, I've got some awesome pictures of Zeppelins. I'll send them to you.
Okay.
I'll use them next time. Yeah.
So since the beginning of the conflict, the German aviation throw bombs on Paris. And then I've actually highlighted that and changed the color of it. Electrical Fasces and bright rockets were used to defend the capital from aerial attacks. That's the description for the picture. So they're actually saying that they used electrical fasces for the defense.
I wonder if the word fascinating comes from that. Because if you look up the etymology of fascinating, it kind of means to, like, if something's fascinating, you can't take your eyes off it.
Yeah.
It's got 100% of your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you awestruck or entranced, which is the same as entrance.
Yeah.
Sorry about the telegram.
No. You can't turn that off. Actually, it won't go. So it's normally depicted the eagle section of it's normally depicted with two wings open, or eagle's wings open, or angel's wings. So Martin in his thing suggests that it's suggesting angels and it's suggesting advanced technology.
Wow.
So that's,
yeah, but it's really ancient technology, isn't it? We would consider it to be advanced technology because we don't use it now.
They call it Antiquitech. They made a word up in his channel, and they called it Antiquitech. So that's the president of the United States. So he's stating that he uses this open-winged. Well, basically, they're telling us, they have to tell us what they use, even if they don't have to tell us the truth of it.
Two wings on the same bird, right?
Yeah.
Everybody goes to the poles where they vault. It's all electricity.
No.
All about electricity. Yeah.
So these two birds, and they're sitting on the fasces. So the fasces, what I'm getting at is the fasces are harmonic frequency weapons, and they've been using them throughout time. They just haven't been showing us that. So in that World War II, they had these trumpets that they used in the troop, and they were saying at the time when I'm reading up on that creates mud. That just generates mud, that makes it impossible for the people to advance.
Mud flood.
Yeah. So also the orb plays a role in this weaponry. So the Queen's got the orb. I'm not sure what the role. You'd have to watch all of Martin, the 5.5 hour thing.
God, yeah.
And then if you look at this, is like a diadem or tiara, and that's got the eagle with the wings open.
What would that stone be? What would that blue stone be?
Oh, that'd be sapphire.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we've got depictions of the Ark of the Covenant and trumpets depicting the blowing up of the city with sound. So if you look at this picture here, got the guys walking along with the Ark of the Covenant, and almost everybody's got a horn, and they're blowing the horn on the outside here, and the Ark of the Covenant's in the center. And then inside the castle walls, you've got the depiction of the buildings all topsy-turvy falling down. People with blood on their head, people with bloody noses, somebody vomiting blood there, people with blood all over them inside the city with all the castles and things throwing up, you know.
And the guys that blowing the trumpets, yeah.
Yeah, the guys. So it's depicting
exactly
damage
that. Yeah,
through sound.
yeah.
And then you've got the
Yeah.
picture of the ark, the typical picture of the Ark of the Covenant with the two wings open, the wings coming round.
This
So,
point in the presentation might be a good time to show that video.
all right. So I'll just escape this for a
I'm-
second and come back to that.
I know I said
So-
earlier we'll leave it to the end, but I think we could interject with that right now,
Okay.
just
All
to
right.
show people
So,
what
I'll just
what
check.
this
Yeah,
is.
I'm sharing the sound. So the video that I've shared it earlier on my channel, it's one of my favorite videos, and it's called Cymatics, and it's science versus music. And it shows how, whilst they play music, how the sound affects the medium. So the mediums are the four elements: the fire, water, air, and what's the fourth one? Earth.
Earth.
So that
It's
so they
insane. What you're about to see, guys, is gonna blow you away.
okay.
Absolutely blow you away.
So I've got the sound turned off, which is a real shame because it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So it's like really loud. It's just one tone, boom, 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 throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, but we don't want to get a copyright, do we?
But we don't want to get a copyright, so I've got the sound turned off. But it's about how sound affects form in relation to the elements.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to talk, it goes on to show these guys put chainmail on themselves, and then they go to the air section. So that's the fire, that's them boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, you can see the flames bounce as he's hitting those drums.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just insane. So what he's doing here is he's covering himself in what you might today call a Faraday cage, right?
Turn the volume up.
Yeah, now he's going to do the air thing. I'm not sure what that, some kind of generator, I suppose. But
I'm just going to turn the sound on for 2 seconds. I'll give you a link to it anyway. But you see you can see the arcing of the electricity. Yeah.
Look at that water curling.
And then the fire. Look at him walking around.
Yeah.
And that's the music, that's the sound generating that. So I'll link that video below. I'll go back to my presentation for a second. Okay, I went back in where I was. That's good. So so we've got depictions of the Ark of the Covenant and the trumpets and the blowing up of the city with sound. Then
I'm gonna make the full screen so we can make it a bit bigger.
Yeah, I've got to go. How do I do that? From here? If I go from the beginning, it's going to take it right back.
Oh yeah, it's all right. Just scroll through.
You'll be there. There you go. Right. So leads me to the question: did they use electrical charges to control the realms in the past? So if we look at the languages, almost every city has one of these, which is an arch, and it's almost always in the main city. And just look at the size of the people compared to the bloody arch.
I think that's the Arc de Triomphe in France, isn't it?
That's the Arc de Triomphe. So arch, the relationship with electricity, arc, and then I just showed you a screenshot. If you do arches around the world, you will see that there is one of these. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. In New York, they're all over the world.
Do you remember that one a few years ago called the Arch? Was it the Arch of Baal that they kind of moved it around? They took it to London and they took it to Paris and they took it to New York.
It was called Palmyra, PA.
Oh, okay.
And it's all to do with the it's all to do with Baal and the fall of that's what the Phoenicians. Comes back to the Phoenicians, the phony guy, the phonies.
Harry and I were talking about it in our podcast earlier about the Baal being connected to Balmoral, the Queen's official
Right.
residence in Scotland, Bal.
Right.
And then you've got the MO, moon. Then you've got the RA, Ra. And
Yeah.
you've got the AL or EL, which is God or godly. So it's all there. Baal, moon, Ra, and L, just in Balmoral Castle.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow. That's amazing. All right. So these arches are often placed on main accesses to cities. So just two examples, Champs-Élysées in Paris, Marble Arch in London. So these were main roads. It's like Marble Arch is like Oxford Street, which is like a bang access to the centre of London, or the old centre of London. And they're called triumphal arches. So why did the word triumphal make me think of the word trumpet? And
well,
the
there's a lot in that, because trumpets play a big part in the Bible. And if you look at who the last president of the and his VP, Pence, you actually get trumpets.
Mm-hmm.
It's all there. You can't miss it.
No.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah.
So if you have a look at the depictions of these arches, on these arches, they've often got the open wings on them. If you look at closer images of all of the different arches, they've often got the open wings.
Do you know what that reminds me of? That one there, the 101, the portal. I know there's two columns either side of the arch, but if you look at that, just as if there's one, or each pair is one column, and then in the middle you've got the 0, you've got the 101.
Yeah, the 101, and then you've got the crowns on the top. You've got the corona.
Yeah.
You've got the Fasces. You've got the whole lot.
The whole lot. Yeah.
So, what's the term to send an army into battle or to make them retreat? So when you send them in, you say charge, and then you get them to retreat, and it's discharge when they leave the army.
Yeah.
So could it?
Battle.
Yeah. So the thing I'm asking is, could they have, in a different era, got them to walk through those arches with the Fasces, and it could have charged, because they could have been going into battle charging the Fasces, and then when they came home, they discharged the Fasces. So they.
I could be wrong. I actually think it was John Levy that did a few months ago. Might have been a bit longer. Did a whole podcast on arches, and he was basically saying similar things, that they were used for some form of electrical device.
Right. So armies were depicted wearing chainmail in the past.
That must have been so heavy, I mean, how would you have been able to have a sword fight? Look at that guy on the left. I mean, can you imagine, Kim, the weight of that that suit?
And then I'll go back. That's a Faraday cage. That's actually a Faraday cage. So the Faraday cages of today, like we just saw with that video and the guys doing the music, that's what they were wearing.
Yeah.
So it's the Faraday cages. And that's the video I just showed you, Cymatics, by Nigel Sanford. Then my question is, what if the Queen's death is associated to the end of the era? So they announce the Queen's death, and that's associated with the end of the era. And that's when they activate the 5G network to utilize the modern day Fasces.
Makes so much sense.